Hey everybody, welcome to DadsDen of Pop Culture, and it is another Justice League International Monday. We're going undercover in this one. His name is Wayne, Bruce Wayne. Story by Giffen and DeMatteis, art by Maquire and Gordon. Now, last issue, we saw the attack of Manga Khan and his cluster, and they leave because the acquisition of the Earth became unprofitable, but they took Mr. Miracle with them. But now we're kind of switching gears to something more earthbound. We begin with Batman. And Batman is having a conversation with somebody in the shadows. Ruman Hajavti is a dictator, a dangerous lunatic. He's up to something, and we've got to find out what. Who's he talking to over there? Why, he's talking to Maxwell Lord. So Batman is apparently back in the Justice League International, or at least he's going to be working with them. And so Batman agrees. We've got to figure out what to do. Have you got some kind of plan? Of course, I've got a plan. I'm a genius. So the plan is going to be Batman with the League that is still on planet Earth, meaning Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Green Flame, and Ice Maiden. They're going to, well, actually, no, Ice Maiden isn't going in on this one. Sorry, I take that back. I guess she's got the day off. Those other four are going into Bialya in disguise. All right, so they're all ready to go. When do we leave, Bat? Soon. How soon? Immediately. That's very soon. So they're going to be going into Bialya. And we see them arriving at the airport, and it turns out that Batman is going in disguised as billionaire Bruce Wayne. I feel a little silly in this getup. Does Bruce Wayne always travel with bimbos? So they tell me. I can't believe Wayne let you pass yourself off as him. He owed me a favor. I called it in. Well, it's a good disguise. Wayne's a good-looking man. I'll be sure to tell him that when I see him. Okay, so we got a little bit of a V for Vendetta. So they're greeted, and, you know, the guy is super, 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 super nice to him, get him a car, etc. Something of a brown nose, isn't he? I thought Bialyans hate the USA. They do, but they're very fond of the American dollar. So they're kissing up to the billionaire who's come in. Meanwhile, we got Booster and Blue Beetle, who are in disguises of their own, waiting for the luggage. This never happens on Mission Impossible. What never happens? This. I mean, really, picking up his luggage? Peter Lupus would never take that. From Batman, he'd take it. Besides, Beetle, we're supposed to be Bruce Wayne's loyal lackeys. Hey, didn't you hear Bruce before? Use our fake names. What was yours again? Bargewarge. Bargewarge? It was Max's idea. Well, Bargy baby, just remember to call me George Bailey. You're kidding. God, it's a wonderful life, isn't it? It would be if you'd help me with this luggage. So they're having their own little adventure there, dealing with this guy who's, you can't believe how incompetent they are. But we do take up the Manga Khan storyline here as well, where he's discovering that they have a hostage, and that was not part of the plan. It was an accidental well read. It was an accidental acquisition, Lord Manga. He was just sort of there when we departed Earth. And you say, Elrond, that you believe he's one of that planet's paranormals? He calls himself Mr. Miracle. It's either a paranormal or what? Sorry, my lord, I couldn't come up with a suitable punchline. Thank heaven for small miracles. So they've got him. They're going to maybe do a mind probe to find out what's going on with him. And that's when they discover that they're maybe being followed. There's some kind of a vessel after them. So it's not very advanced. In fact, it's substandard for interstellar travel. Good. We had enough headaches back there on Earth. Let's lose them. Prepare to jump to hyperspace. Or is that prepare for warp speed? I always get the two confused. It's actually a kind of a funny commentary, because once you're post Star Wars and Star Trek, that kind of concept feeds itself into comic books. And both Marvel and DC, it's sort of like catch as catch can. They don't necessarily have it figured out how space travel works. It just does. And the writer and the artist on a particular book do whatever they want to do with it. And so it's like, okay, well, are we going into hyperspace or warp drive? Which franchise are we copying in this particular issue? Well, on the ship, we see Big Barda, Martian Manhunter, Rocket Red. And Barda wants to go in there and destroy everything. And, Martian Manhunter's kind of like, well, hold on, we got to figure this out, And Rocket Red chimes in, but rushing blindly into a dangerous situation never did anyone any good. I don't recall asking you for your opinion, Rocket Red. Come to think of it, you didn't. Rocket Red is correct, Barda. Think. If we know their position, then they must surely know ours. And in fact, they do. Now, Gnort is with them. He's on top of the spaceship. And, so they're kind of zooming in. But what they notice is that giant cluster ship starts to glow. And according to my instruments, they're preparing to jump into hyperspace or go to warp drive or something like that. And in fact, they do. And we have Barda. No! Why are we just sitting here? Why aren't we going after them? We couldn't possibly duplicate that with this ship. We've lost them. Oh my goodness. Okay, to be continued. Later, back in Bialya, we have actually a nice scene between Green Flame and Batman as she gets a little bit amorous. I like you, Batman. You turn me on. Mr. Costa. Please remember that I'm wearing a disguise. Underneath this, I assure you I'm as ugly as sin. Now, what say we go for a walk? A very long walk. Look, the reality is Batman is a man of tremendous discipline. And but he's also had been tangling with Catwoman for many years, so I guess he's learned how to control himself. So we get a little meeting, and they've been dealing with bugs, they think, at least in this room. We get a little meeting with them, and Batman is like, okay, we're going to go out, walk the streets a little bit, see what's going on, see what we can pick up. You two just stay in the room. We got nothing for you. And here we have Booster. This never happens to James Bond. Blue Beetle. James Bond just left. What we're looking at here is pure Abbott and Costello. Nice. Let's flip to Ruman Harjavti. They're getting ready for him to reveal this secret weapon he has that's going to put Bialya on par with the United States and the Soviet Union. And there is a mystery woman with him, with very nice legs, who has helped make this happen. And you kind of get the feeling that maybe she's a little more, I don't know, with it than Ruman is. Well, we'll see what happens with that. When Bruce Wayne and his bimbo, I already forgot what her name was supposed to be now, her fake name, when they get back to the hotel room, that very polite man from the airport is already there. They used gas to take out Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. She's like, Mister, you just bit off more than you can chew. Do you have any idea who you're tangling with here? And now, my darling, let's not get excited. I think it's best to do whatever the good gentleman says. After all, we wouldn't want anybody to get hurt. And then click, go the lights, pow, 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 pow. Ouch. Oh, come on, you didn't even give me a chance. Although I've got to admit, you work fast, speed's of the essence. Obviously, our cover's been blown. How? I don't know. So now what? Now we get ourselves some new identities. And I have someone very appropriate in mind. What about Beetle and Booster? They may act like Heckle and Jekyll sometimes, but they wouldn't be in the league if they couldn't take care of themselves. Well, maybe. So it's the big night in Bialya, the big reveal. And who shows up but Maxwell Lord with a woman who's got her face covered. Could that actually be Batman and Green Flame in disguise? I think maybe it could. And so Ruman Harjavti does not like Maxwell Lord because he's associated with the League, but they're pretending to be very polite, etc. He notices Jim Nabors, which is pretty awesome. And so he rushes off. Think about that. I want to see the scene where Batman, disguised as Maxwell Lord, is making small talk with Jim Nabors. Gomer Pyle. Jim Nabors is actually a very cool guy. It's a conversation I would have actually liked to have. So, looking over the scene, Jack-o'-lantern and Queen Bee. And so she is got her own little association of former Global Guardians. We see Owl Woman here as well. And she's got plans of her own for Bialya. So here we go. Here's the big reveal. We got Ruman Harjavti doing his little bit. For today, the oft-trampled nation of Bialya steps out of the shadows of the United States and the Soviet Union to become a world power. Here it comes. Get ready. For what? For anything. Hey, isn't that Willard Scott over there? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Bialya's weapon of weapons. You ready? Are you ready? Well, no, not yet. Here it goes. Whoa. The other dimensional superhero called Wandjina, the Thunderer. As some of you may have heard, the poor fellow had a minor accident at a nuclear reactor in Russia, but not to worry. We've rescued the poor fellow, and as you can see, he's in the pink of health. And rest assured, the handsome devil, who, by the way, is one of the most powerful super beings on Earth, is but the first of an entire army of super beings that will be serving me, Bialya, and all the oppressed peoples of the Third World, but especially me. Wandjina, you will remember, is from the same world that Silver Sorceress and Blue Jay were from, and he was basically, back in the day, a DC analog to the mighty Thor. Okay, so a few issues back, Justice League number 3, he in fact did stop a nuclear reactor from just going, crazy, and obviously got a big dose of radiation that almost killed him, and apparently did some very horrible things to him, but he's still powerful. How powerful is he? So rejoice, O downtrodden peoples of the earth. No more will you have to fear the capitalists or communists. You have found a guardian, a savior in Colonel Ruman Harjavti. And all of a sudden, Wandjina grabs his head, and it starts burning and sort of, melting away. And gross, oh my God. But very Cronenberg, have I done well, mistress? You've done your job, I can ask no more. Ladies and gentlemen, the king is dead. Long live the queen. And so, Ruman Harjavti is no longer the leader of Bialya. Queen Bee has now taken that country over. Next, all hell breaks loose. Okay. So there we go. We're picking up the MangaCon storyline with Mr. Miracle a little bit, but primarily we're focusing now on more doings in Bialya, a little espionage by the Justice League, frankly, that didn't go very well, and the Queen Bee has now taken over. Now that's going to be a big storyline for Justice League International and Justice League Europe when that comes along in 11 issues, so in about a year. We're going to see all that stuff a bit more for quite some time. So let me know in the comments what you think of this particular issue. Really nice art from Maquire and Gordon. Some great scenes with Green Flame and Bruce Wayne, Batman. Some cool stuff in there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Maybe subscribe, maybe share with a friend. That'd be very, very groovy. But until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. Read a little Justice League. And I will see you again, hopefully soon, in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.